I think in Bitcoin, right, that you can take the position that is the protocol working or is the protocol not working? It looks to me like the protocol is working. It's the most successful monetary protocol in the history of the world. It's gone from $0 to $1.4 trillion in 15 years. It looks like it's on a path to go to 14 trillion, and I don't know why it wouldn't go to 140 trillion. So I look at it right now, and it looks like the protocol as it stands is capable of going to the point where it constitutes 5, 10, 20% of the capital in the world. It's going to change and inject freedom, sovereignty, and sound money into every country, every company, every institution. That's the path we're on right now. And so why would you want to interrupt that? We get the approval of the spot ETFs for Bitcoin, but the single most important thing that happened in this epic was the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. That basically was crossing of the chasm, which said that Bitcoin is not a multi-$100 billion asset class. Bitcoin is a $10 to $100 trillion asset class. So that was a 10x to 100.
Crypto fam, welcome back to the channel. That was Michael Saylor telling you where Bitcoin could be going in the future. 10 trillion, potential $100 trillion market cap. And we're going to be getting into some recent Bitcoin news. We can see Bitcoin here over the past week has been very, very boring. It peaked at around $70,500. We got as low as around $66,800. So we'll be going into some recent news that happened this week. Go over some TA. Make sure to stay tuned for all this information. Checking out the number of Bitcoin held by the Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs. You can see here over the past 5 weeks, they have continued to accumulate Bitcoin. It went down for a bit, but over this past week, the number of Bitcoin that these ETFs is actually going up, now at $245 million. Not huge, but you can see there's definitely some interest there in Hong Kong to hold these Bitcoin ETFs. And then also checking out the number of Bitcoin that have been bought up from the US ETFs over the past 2 weeks. And you can see right here, the week of May 13th, a lot of money was flowing into these ETFs. The number of Bitcoin over that week, you can see right here, around 10K BTC. You can see we've had a lot of positive days, more and more Bitcoin coming into these ETFs. Really, really good to see. And I don't think this is going to slow down anytime soon because we got that CPI inflation report that came out and it was lower than expected. So risk on assets, people tend to invest more in those. We've seen that with Bitcoin. Look at the amount of Bitcoin that have been getting bought up here over the past couple of weeks. Definitely a good sign for the future. And then looking at Bitcoin in the technicals, in the past week, you can see right here, Bitcoin peaked at around 71,500, and we've hit a support level at around 67,000 a couple of times. The main levels we're looking at right now for Bitcoin is around 67,000 as a support level. Resistance currently sitting at around $70,000. If we can make our way back up to this $70,000 going into the beginning of next week, we could potentially see a breakout and a retest of the all-time high for Bitcoin. If we can break that all-time high, that's when Bitcoin has no resistance above it. You really see Bitcoin go into price discovery mode and make its way to the upside, and nobody really knows how high it could go from there. And then getting back into some news, President Biden vetoed a bill that would allow highly regulated financial firms to custody Bitcoin and crypto. So there has been some back and forth with President Biden, whether he's pro-crypto, whether he's anti-crypto. You know, Elizabeth Warren is trying to form the anti-crypto army in the Democratic Party. We did see the FIT 21 bill pass through the House and Senate last week, but President Biden has been back and forth. It's looking like he may be anti-crypto. This is going to lose him votes. There are a lot of people in Bitcoin and crypto who really are just going to vote for the president who they think could potentially help their bags the most. And it doesn't look like Biden is for freedom. This isn't a good sign. I'm not sure why the Democrats and Biden are really trying to attack crypto and Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. But we'll see what happens going into the future. But right now, it just seems like President Biden is not for crypto at all. But Donald Trump, he actually got convicted last week, found guilty on 34 counts out of 34 that he was charged with. But he has came out publicly over the last couple of weeks and said, hey, like, I love Bitcoin. Elizabeth Warren's not going to be able to touch your Bitcoin. The anti-crypto army will fail. So keep that in mind. Biden is potentially anti-crypto and Donald Trump is pro-crypto. And we know we have RFK, who is also running. He's also pro-Bitcoin and pro-crypto. And then the biggest news last week, healthcare company Saylor Scientific bought 581 Bitcoin worth $40 million. They also adopted Bitcoin as its primary treasury reserve asset. And the reason why they did this is they saw the success that MicroStrategy was having. They feel like they were in a similar position, and now they're going to take the MicroStrategy approach in their own way. This is huge. We could see more publicly traded companies do this in the United States going forward, because as the success of Bitcoin goes up, the success of MicroStrategy will go up, the success of Saylor Scientific will go up, and then other companies will look at it and say, hey, maybe we should adopt a Bitcoin standard. There aren't a lot of companies in the US publicly traded doing this right now, but we could definitely see that change in the future. And then just a fun fact here, if you would have bought Bitcoin with your $1,200 stimulus check, that would now be worth $12,392, up 933%. That was a stimulus check we got back in 2020. Bitcoin definitely has performed very well in that time period. And then also another fun fact here, price of a home, US dollars versus Bitcoin. You can see here in 2016, the average home was $288,000. That's around 664 Bitcoin. In 2020, it was $628,000. That was around 545 Bitcoin at the time. And now in 2024, it's $434,000 for the average home. That's around 6.6 Bitcoin. So what's it better to buy, Bitcoin or homes? It's looking like Bitcoin is going to continue to outperform the housing market. But that's really all I had for today's video, guys. A quick one here today. Just want to get you guys brought back up to speed, everything that kind of happened last week in this crypto and Bitcoin space. And it's looking like over the next week or two, we could really have some more flows come from these ETFs. Bitcoin's price could break that $70,000 resistance level and make its way back up to its old all-time high. That is a potential possibility. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's something to watch out for. But let me know what you guys thought about all that in the comment section below. My name is Aaron from Bitcoin Bros. I'm going to see you guys in the next one, and have a great rest of your day.